This is a demonstration of a sulfite drop count test kit using endpoint ID procedures. When taking a sample for sulfite testing, there are two things to consider. If the sample is too hot, the starch indicator will degrade from blue to brown. If you wait too long, the sulfite concentration will decrease, leading to lower results. For the most accurate results, run the sample through a sample cooler. The next step according to the endpoint ID procedure is to add 1 drop of phenolphthalein indicator. The bottle contains a dropper tip, so it's important to hold the bottle vertically to get a consistent drop size. After the addition of each reagent, it's important to swirl the vial to make sure the reagents are properly mixed. The next step according to the endpoint ID procedure is to add the starch acid powder 1 scoop at a time until the sample is changed from pink to colorless. It's important to swirl the vial after each scoop to make sure the powder is completely dissolved. Once the sample is turned colorless, add 2 more scoops of powder and swirl the vial. The next step according to the endpoint ID procedure is to perform the titration. Each bottle of titrant is labeled with the equivalency and sample size it was manufactured for. It's important to make sure you have the proper titrant and the proper sample size for this titration. The bottle of titrant contains a dropper tip, therefore it's important to hold the bottle vertically to make sure you get a consistent drop size. After the addition of each drop of titrant, you want to swirl the vial to make sure the sample is properly mixed. According to the endpoint ID procedure, the titration is complete when the sample is changed from colorless to blue. In this example, each drop was equivalent to 10 parts per million as sodium sulfite. The sample took 12 drops to reach the endpoint, therefore, this sample contains 120 parts per million as sodium sulfite. This concludes our demonstration of the sulfite drop count test kit.